podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
She just goes a little mad sometimes.
Do you ever feel like you're normal and the rest of the world has lost its collective mind?
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of 3.
Do you find people saying this to you a lot?
Are you totally deranged?
Are you looking for a looking glass to pass through?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Or looking for a rabbit hole to fall down?
Who could think of a better punishment, really? Everything's the same here. It's just a little worse.
Guess what?
Life's a bitch. Now so am I.
You found it. Welcome to Platinum Rose's Garden.
Hello, my darlings. This is Platinum Rose Lady welcoming you to Platinum Rose's Garden on Sunday, November 13th, 2016. Sorry I'm a day late, kids. Wasn't feeling all that well yesterday, but I'm better now. So, well, hasn't this been a week? We're going to focus on just supernatural stuff this week on the show. For the most part, I have some stuff I want to talk about at the end of the show, but this week we have some great news and we have some sad news. Ironically, both of which turned out to have happened on the same day and have to do bothly with supernatural, and one of them in a kind of roundabout way. The great news was Jared Padalecki's appearance on Live with Kelly, which was awesome, and Jared was his usual sweet, adorable self, and he announced to the audience and the world that he and his lovely wife Genevieve are expecting child number 3, that Genevieve is indeed pregnant and the baby is due in March, and I am so excited and happy and thrilled for them. I know that a lot of Supernatural fans are as well, and I think that that's a great thing. I think we just need to shower them with love and support. I just think it's so amazing and sweet and awesome that both Jared and Jensen's wives are expecting children. It's like they're trying to start their own baseball team between the two of them. It's ridiculous. But I wish them both, Jared and Jen, nothing but love and affection and good vibes. And the same, obviously, for Jensen and his beautiful wife, Danielle. Oh my gosh, I was so deliriously happy at the news. I was like Kermit flailing all over the place. It was ridiculous. The thing is, where there is life, there is also death. And we had to say goodbye to an amazing man on Monday. Leonard Cohen passed away. He was in his 80s, an amazing singer, songwriter, lyricist, just an all-around incredible human being with an amazing gift. I bring him up in the supernatural vernacular because I know some people are like, what is she talking about? I was lucky enough to attend the Supernatural Convention in Boston back in 2011. And one of the amazing events that occurred at that con was a mini concert by Jason Manns. And one of the songs he sang was Leonard Cohen's amazing song, Hallelujah. And I don't think there was a dry eye in the house as Jason sang. It was such a beautiful rendition of that song. That's Hallelujah. I don't know what it is about that song. It's so beautiful, and I never fails to make me cry. It's just one of those songs that when I hear it, every time I hear it, no matter who does it, I start crying. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you why I'm crying. It's like, I'm not sad so much. It's just something about that song just vibrates inside my soul, and that's my expression of how much I love it, is by the fact that I cry. Of course, I also cry at damn near everything, so I might not be the best measuring stick for emotional stability. I know that, and I'm pretty sure you guys know that by now. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get to this week's Supernatural episode recap. Season 12, Episode 5 of Supernatural, the one you've been waiting for. The Then deals with a lot of stuff. We're dealing with going back seasons and stuff like that with the Then. Starting it, though, with some pretty sad stuff. Mary coming back to Earth, being brought back by the darkness, but not being able to handle, the fact that Sam and Dean are hunters, being possessed by a ghost, having to kill someone. It's all just too much for Mary, and she winds up saying that she needs some time, so she leaves Sam and Dean. And they're both dealing with it as best as they can. We are reintroduced, for those of you who could ever forget them, to the Thule Society, which is a society made up of Nazis that were involved in the black arts, specifically necromancy, the idea of being able to keep someone alive past the time of, that they should be dead, the whole raising of the dead and all that kind of, evil, creepy shit like that. And we also are reintroduced to the Judah Initiative through a young man named Aaron Bass, whose grandfather was a member of the Judah Initiative, who were trying to fight the Nazis. And Aaron, who has been accompanied on this quest that he winds up going on to try and fight the Thule by a golem, which had also beat the crap out of Sam and Dean at one point. And now we're at Now. And Now is in Columbus, Ohio, where we see a woman go into what looks to be some kind of antique shop. And she is trying to buy a gold pocket watch that has a Nazi insignia on it, which, obviously this is not a good thing. And the guy trying to sell it to her is saying that the price has gone up, and as he's holding the watch, all of a sudden he bursts into flames. When she tries to grab the watch to steal it, she bursts into flames as well. And all of this is going on while someone is in the shadows watching. And we get the opening credits, and we're off. We are at the Bat Cave in Kansas, and Dean is sitting there at the computer in the kitchen at the laptop. Sam comes in with groceries and pie, and offers some pie to Dean, who is not eating from the sound of it, and Dean even turns down pie. Now, when you think about the last time that Dean actually had some pie was when he was sitting there eating at the table with his mother, you're kind of not surprised that Dean turned it down, and also your heart just breaks a little bit more. And he tells Sam that he's found them this case of spontaneous human combustion in Columbus, Ohio, that Sam suspects might be, from the sound of it, might be witches or dragons, because these two people burned to death and nothing in the store was burned, just the two people. Obviously, there's something weird going on. And the fact that Dean isn't, dealing with the fact that his mom has left and he's hurting because of that. And when Sam brings up that that's called sublimation, Dean's just like, yeah, it's kind of my thing. And it so is, Dean. I want to hug you, but at the same time, I want to grab you by the face and shake you. You drive me crazy, but you're just so adorable. I can't help it. The guys break into the shop after they show up in Ohio. The shop has already been, looked over by the cops. You can tell by the yellow tape, but there are no police around. So they break into the shop, and there's no smell of sulfur, and there's no reading on the EMF. So at least that leaves out demons and ghosts right now. Sam's of the opinion what they could be dealing with are some kind of a cursed object. And he's looking around on the computer, another thing that wound up not being burned, while Dean's above him looking up at things on the upper level and manages to break a pretty nice looking ship just by touching it. It's like, Dean, great bull in a china shop impression, buddy. While Sam's looking on the computer and finding out that this guy was involved, more than a little bit involved, with dealing with Nazi artifacts, I'll get to a private story about that at the end of the show. Sam finds this stuff on the computer while Dean finds a secret room upstairs, which turns out to be a room full of Nazi memorabilia. Uniforms, propaganda posters, framed pictures of Hitler, the whole friggin' scary 9 yards. As it turns out, the guys find out from their research that the watch belonged to a high-ranking member of the Nazi Party, so Sam automatically thinks the Thule might be involved. And Sam, as usual, is right. We cut to a young lady who is on a date. Her name is Ellie. And she is on a Tinder date. She's obviously more than a little nervous, although she brought the guy back to her place. So she goes in the bathroom to try and get herself motivated to go out there and do the deed. But then she hears this thumping noise. She opens the door. She sees two strangers in her apartment, and her date is on fire. I could make some really crass Tinder jokes here, but I'm better than that. No, I'm not. I'm still not going to make them, though. She, needless to say, is spotted by these guys, who are obviously Thule members, and she climbs out her window, but manages to get cut while she's running down the fire escape and fleeing. The two people that were in her place and killed her date are an older man and a younger man. The younger man goes to shoot at her, but he's stopped by the older gentleman, who says that they got what they came for, and he dabs the blood that was on the fire escape into his handkerchief. The Winchesters, meanwhile, have called Aaron Bass, who is in Germany right now with the Golem. It turns out that they've been hunting the Thule all this time, and Aaron wound up killing 6 members of the Thule Society, and the Golem got some of the other ones. They've been going through this ledger that had the names of all these resurrected Nazi soldiers in them. So, good on Aaron and yay Golem. It turns out that he tells the Winchesters that most of the members of the Thule Society have been staying close to Germany because they're involved with some project. He doesn't know what the project is, but he does know the name of it. Because they got a hold of some of their documents. It's some kind of a project mission, however you want to word it, called Das Blut, which would be German for the blood. And Sam brings up, that doesn't sound, scary, obviously. The guys show up at the apartment where they find out through the computer and the police scanner that they have on the laptop about this other burnt body. They show up at the crime scene in their Fed suits talking to the cops. They ask what happened to the other person that was in the apartment. That would be Ellie, who is sitting outside in a police car, when all of a sudden someone comes up, opens the door to the car, handcuffs her in the car, and drives off with it. And we see it's the young man from earlier. And the Winchesters go outside just in time to see the car drive off, and they wind up following it. Sam manages to rescue Ellie while the young man that was on the phone, the young man that drove the police car away, pulls over, gets out of the car, leaves Ellie in the car, goes to another car, and is arguing on the phone with what turns out to be his father, the gentleman that we saw before. The Winchesters, needless to say, show up, and Sam goes and gets Ellie out of the police car while Dean has the young man under the point of his gun. The Winchesters then sit Ellie down and this captured young man, whose name turns out to be Christoph, and they explain to Ellie what's going on. Needless to say, she's not really believing it and thinks it's completely insane. The watch, as it turns out, belonged to Christoph's father, Commandant Nauhaus. It turns out his father is a Thule, a member of the Thule Society. Members of the Thule Society, by the way, can only be killed by a shot in the head and then burning the body. Just in case I didn't mention that earlier. I don't think I did. It turns out that his father, Commandant Nahaus, was there in the actual bunker in 1945 Germany when shit went wrong. You know, everyone was killing themselves. We see Eva Braun dead on the floor and Hitler about to shoot himself when the commandant tells him there is another way. And what they did was they took Hitler's soul and put it in this pocket watch. Their intent was to bring him back at another time. Christoph brings up that the watch is kind of like a Horcrux, which Sam mentions is a Harry Potter thing, which Dean is like, yeah, you would know that. What the fuck is that about? You know, sorry. It turns out the watch has pretty much been traveling around the world because it was in the hands of Germans and it was in the hands of Russians, and it's been everywhere. The thing is, the reason why it hasn't been used yet, like they haven't just put Hitler's soul in somebody else's body, it's got to be more specific than that. Hitler's soul has to be put in the body of someone who shares his bloodline, which, as it turns out, is Ellie. Ellie is, I don't exactly blame her, completely flipped out by this, and, says that she's, her family's done research all the way back. They can trace their ancestors back to the Mayflower. And Christoph brings up, you were adopted, and starts rattling off stuff about her life, which shows that the Thule have been keeping an eye on her for a while. And it seems like Ellie's always had this history of running away when things are tough. She dropped out of med school, canceled her wedding. I mean, granted, her fiance was sleeping with the caterer, so, I would have canceled my wedding too. But Ellie can't deal with any of this and winds up leaving the room. Sam goes and talks to her and tries to explain the situation as best as he can, even going so far as bringing up the fact that he was actually supposed to be the vessel for Lucifer. He doesn't bring up that he actually was Lucifer. Well, he says, I was his vessel. So, yeah, he actually did bring it up, which I'm kind of like, whoa. I mean, for Sam to talk about that with an almost total stranger, I was like, damn, son, that's brave. I'm a Samazon, first and foremost. I always lean toward my Sam, right or wrong. I was just like, oh, let me hold you. For comforting someone like that. You're so good. Let me give you a hug. The problem is that, the Nazis are looking for her, and Commander Nahaus can actually smell her because of the blood, which is just creepy as fuck. Dean comes into the room and talks with Sam and Ellie. He wants to set a trap for the Thule. His and Sam's idea is that they can take out a great deal of high-ranking Thule officials with one shot. Ellie is not really keen on the idea of being bait. I kind of don't blame her. Although Dean does promise nothing bad will happen to her. Unfortunately, he can't quite keep that promise because the Thule break into the building and Sam and Dean wind up in a huge fight with two of the Nazis. I gotta give it up for the fight choreographer for this scene. Holy shit. I mean, this was like MMA level fighting shit. I was like, damn, this is nasty. The Thule wind up escaping, and when Sam and Dean go back in the room where Ellie was, Ellie's gone and the window is open. There are some times when you want to just slap people. You just want to slap people for stupid choices. I love you, but your choices are stupid. That kind of a thing. Ellie has run away again and unfortunately winds up running down the street and runs right into being grabbed by the Nazis, and she's dragged into a limousine and gagged. Christoph has also escaped and joined his father in the limo, and his father starts berating him extremely, cruelly, because you wouldn't think a Nazi would make a good father figure either. You'd be right. And he reaches over and caresses Ellie's face, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I need some Purell, stat. It's like, ew, Nazi cooties, yuck. The guys are we see the Winchesters in a diner, at their laptop, trying to figure out where they could have taken Ellie, and Dean's idea is to use the traffic cams, hacking into the traffic cameras, to try and find out where she's been taken. Follow the trail of the cars and such like that. They get to the Nazis get to where they're keeping this place set aside for this ceremony that will transfer Hitler's soul into Ellie's body. Before that gets done, though, Commandant Nauhaus orders Christoph to be killed by one of his underlings. Christoph, actually showing something of a spine and not wanting to die, manages to fight back and shoot his intended assassin and flees. At the diner, the Winchesters are joined by Christoph, who tells them that he wants protection, and warns them that there are Thule bodyguards outside waiting for them, and also tells them that he will take them to Ellie if they'll keep him safe. The ritual inside is about to start. Ellie's there's a what do you call it? IV in her arm. I can't really tell if she's been drugged or what, but she's very groggy. Other than the fact that she's obviously having blood taken out of her as well. Sam decides when they get to the place where Christoph leads them, Sam takes out a pair of handcuffs and handcuffs Christoph in the Impala and leaves him there, which I was like, Christoph's kind of like, you're going to leave me here? And Sam's like, yep. I was like, yes, baby, good job. Obviously, they don't trust this little shit. The Winchesters are at the back of the Impala, going through what they need to bring in weapon-wise, and Dean takes out the grenade launcher. Sam is of the opinion that, we don't need the grenade launcher, and Dean just looks so disappointed. Dean looks like a kid that's just been denied his favorite toy. If it wouldn't be disrespectful to, fuck it, I'm just going to call it sulking. Dean kind of sulked for a minute, and it was actually really kind of adorable. It turns out that things are actually even worse than you thought they were going to be for Ellie. Commandant Nauhaus is actually having Ellie's blood put into his body. He is going to take on the soul of Hitler. He tells Ellie that he never needed her, just her blood. The Winchesters outside manage to take out the guards and start getting, maneuvering to get into the building. The ritual continues. The pocket watch is put on Commandant Nauhaus under his chest, really more on his stomach, and these little prongs come out of it. They carve a swastika into his body, and they sink in, and the pocket watch sinks into his skin. And the ritual, amazingly enough, actually works. And Adolf Hitler is resurrected in this man's body. And I have to say, Hitler was a lot more exuberant than I thought he'd be. He's just very vocal and loud. I mean, the thing is, when he screams, though, you're like, holy shit, that's Hitler. He orders that the rest of Ellie's blood should be drained and that she should be fed to his dogs. We see the Winchesters get into the building, and the problem is once they get through one door, they're instantly captured by the Thule. They're brought before Hitler, and both Sam and Dean are like, holy shit, this is bad. Hitler tells them that Commandant Nahus feared them. He taps his head and he says that Nahus is still in his head, which I thought was interesting. It's obviously not the case like it is with archangels, when archangels take over a body and that soul, is the soul of the person that was in the body previously is destroyed, or however it works. I'm not really sure how it works. The Hitler's underlings ask what they should do with Sam and Dean, and I figured that he'd say to have them killed, but Hitler says he wants Sam and Dean to be brought with him, that he plans to introduce them to his dogs. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. Now, while all this is going on, Ellie, who has apparently got more gumption than you thought she did, I know she had more gumption than I thought she did, manages to get the cuffs, the soft cuffs that are holding her to the bed that she's on off, enough that she grabs a gun and shoots one of the Thule in the head, which causes this enormous firefight. And at the end of it, Dean is standing over Hitler, who is pleading for his life. Dean says, "Heil this," and shoots Adolf Hitler in the head and kills him for good. I don't think Sam has ever looked at his brother with that much, oh my God, my brother is awesome, since he was like 5 or 6. He's just like, dude, you killed Hitler. And Dean's like, yeah. Awesome. I mean, let's think about this for a second. Dean fucking Winchester shot Adolf Hitler in the motherfucking head. Righteous! I'm sorry. Damn. That's just awesome. And screw you, Indiana Jones. No, I'm just kidding. We see Sam and Dean making a decision that I was kind of like, okay. I mean, I understand the decision, and that's who the Winchesters are. They're not stone cold killers when they don't have to be. They go out to the car and they let Christoph go, which I was like, well, that's interesting. But they do tell him the Thule will be hunting him. They're going to view him as a traitor. Dean suggests that he goes back to Buffalo, because nobody goes to Buffalo. Well, I'm not commenting because it's a whole Boston, New York thing. There's a thing there, so we don't comment on it. We do find out from the conversation that Sam has with Ellie that they being Sam, Dean, and Ellie, burned all of the Nazis' bodies, so nobody's coming back. Sam and Dean drive her to her place, outside her place, and Sam asks how she's holding up. This is where they mention that. She says she's going to be okay, that she's going to be okay. She's thinking about going back to med school. She's finally decided she's going to stop running. And she thanks Sam. Sam gets in the car. And for a second, they're just kind of both sitting there for a second. And then Dean brings up that they passed by a bakery that said there was the best pie. They had the best pie for 1,000 miles. Sam says, so now you want pie? And Dean's reply is, I killed Hitler. I think I deserve some pie. Did I mention I killed Hitler? Sam's like, I'm never going to hear the end of this, am I? Dean answers, probably not. And the Winchesters drive off. I thought The One You've Been Waiting For was a really cool episode. I give it 4 bouquets out of 5. I thought it was really fun and really interesting. I liked the whole picking up of the Thule references again. And the fact that Dean shot Hitler in the head, I mean, fucking A, it don't get better than that. The thing that I found really interesting about this episode were a lot of little things. Like I said, the fight scene, the fight choreography, holy shit, Jared and Jensen just did an amazing job with that. I mean, just awesome. I liked the fact that Ellie actually made it to the end of the episode. I was really pleased about that one. Allison Page brought what could have been a very annoying character to life in a very appealing way. I like Ellie. I hope she makes it. I hope she goes back to medical school, and I hope she becomes a doctor, and, that she has a really nice life. That I really do. There's a lot of things about this episode that I found really interesting. One thing that really strikes me is the fact that, this is the third episode where we brought up the Thule. The other episodes being Everybody Hates Hitler and The Vessel. And now this one. Is the fact that what should actually blow everybody's mind and freak everybody out is the fact that this is based on real shit. The Thule Society was a real thing. These were these were people in the Nazi Party that believed they could win the war with black magic. And I don't know about y'all, but that's scary as fucking hell. I'm sorry. That's just... there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, and all that kind of stuff, to quote the Bard, but damn. We've seen it already in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and nice use of one of Indy's lines by Dean, the whole Nazis, I hate these guys, from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That was nice. But, it's... And I will be the first person that will tell you that, the whole idea of magic, whether or not magic's real, whether or not there's shit out there that we can't control or we don't understand or is beyond our capacity, and shit we shouldn't fuck with, I am definitely a believer in that there is shit we shouldn't fuck with, and this is shit that nobody needs to be fucking with. That's just my opinion. The whole thing about the secret room with the Nazi memorabilia in it and all that stuff like that, it actually put me in mind of something that happened to me back when I was in college. And I think you might find this a little interesting. I don't know what the law is in Ohio, but you can't sell Nazi memorabilia in Massachusetts. Did you know that? I didn't know that. You want to know how I found that out? When I was in college, I was involved with the theater. Big surprise. And one of the productions that we did was a production of Cabaret. So we needed to get costumes and stuff like that. So me and a friend of mine who was also involved with the play, backstage stuff, we're like, okay, well, we know there's this hobby store in a nearby town, and they sell a lot of World War II, figures and stuff like that, army stuff, like model planes and stuff. And we thought maybe they'll have something, so we'll go there. So we go there, and we're like, hi, we need this stuff for a play, and do you have any of it? And, we were like looking for armband, like Nazi armbands and stuff like that. And they were like, no, we don't have that. Even if we did have it, we couldn't sell it to you. And it was like, what? And they were like, it's illegal. It's illegal to sell that, at least back in the 90s. It was illegal to sell Nazi paraphernalia in Massachusetts. And it was like, oh, okay. We made it very clear this was for a play. This was not, anything, unseemly or illegal or messed up, So we wound up having to make our own costumes and stuff. But we both were looking at each other like walking out of the store going, did you know that? It's like, no, I didn't know that either. You learn something new every day. Damn. So let's talk about next week's episode of Supernatural, celebrating the life of Asa Fox. We know that this episode brings Mary back into the lives of Sam and Dean, which is obviously a good thing. We know that Sheriff Jody Mills is in this episode, which is obviously a great thing. And we know that Billy the Reaper is back in this episode. Well, while I think that Billy is terrific, Billy usually doesn't mean good things are happening. And we know that that's not... We know that there are some bad things happening in this episode when hunters gather to say goodbye to one of their own, and something goes really, really wrong and they're under siege. So we will be checking out that episode this coming week. Okay, that is going to do it from my show this week, kids. Before I go, I would like to bring up a little movie suggestion for you guys. If you have some loose coin and want to go to the movies and don't know what you want to go see, if you have not seen Doctor Strange yet, go. If you have seen Doctor Strange already, go again. Oh my gosh, this movie is awesome. It is so much fun. The next film in the Marvel Movieverse series, Doctor Strange, is such a wild ride. It is so much fun. And Benedict Cumberbatch, oh my God, he is so sexy in this movie. It is not to be believed. Oh my God. Oh, it's a fun movie. There's a lot of action. There's more humor than I thought there was going to be. And it's just really a lot of fun. If you are a member of the Marvel movie fan club, which I definitely am, although I love DC movies too, don't get me wrong. I would definitely recommend going to see Doctor Strange, because it is just a blast. Obviously, this coming week is a big week for movie people as well. You know, if you are a fan of the Harry Potter series, and who isn't really, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is coming out this Friday, which is obviously very exciting. And I also have to bring up the first dumbass. If I'm at the theater and the first dumbass I hear being like, "Hey, where's Harry?" I'm going to bitch slap them. No, I'm just kidding. No, because violence is bad. We can't do that. We can think about it a lot, but we can't do it. I hope you guys will check out the other shows that I am involved with. Those would include Subject Cinema, which is our movie podcast that my dear, sweet, long-suffering husband TC and I are involved with, where we do movie reviews and news and all kinds of fun, crazy things. And we also have Front Row 5 and 10, which is our list show, where we will look at either a 1-10, a list 1 through 10, or 1 through 5 lists of stuff to do with movies, music, television, books, anything we think of, And also, I'd like to talk about the other shows that are part of our family but are not done by us, and that would include Cave Babble, which is done by Eric and Valerie, the Lion family, and their kids and grandkids and other assorted folks. They are some really great people, and I hope you'll check them out over at cavebabble.com. And if you have some loose coin that you're not spending on Doctor Strange, I hope you will go check out our Patreon website over at patreon.com/PNRNetworks. This is not something that we do. I mean, we do what we do, the podcasts we do out of love. We're not doing them to get paid. We're doing them because we enjoy doing them. But they're not cheap. We want to try and get new material and get some, better material so we can do a good job for you guys. So if you go over to patreon.com/PNRNetworks and drop a little coin every now and then, we'd appreciate it. You can also check me out on Twitter, PlatinumRoseL at twitter.com, and I hope you will do that as well. And I hope everybody out there has a great week. Stay safe. Start shopping for Thanksgiving now. Beat the crowds, at least with the non-perishable stuff. And this is Platinum Rose Lady reminding you to love the ones you hug the ones you love, and take some time to stop and smell the roses. I'll see you around. Bye.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.